Psalms 40, 1 through 5. I waited patiently for the Lord. He turned to me and heard my cry. He lifted me out of the slimy pit, out of the mud and mire. He set my feet on a rock and gave me a firm place to stand. He put a new song in my mouth, a hymn of praise to our God. Many will see and fear the Lord and put their trust in him. Blessed is the one who trusts in the Lord, who does not look to the crowd, to those who turn aside to false gods. Many, Lord my God, are the wonders you have done, the things you have planned for us. None can compare with you. Were I to speak to tell of your deeds, they would be too many to declare. I have to start this off by thanking God, because I'm nothing without him. I also have to thank my mom. Thank you so much for instilling your work ethic in me and for always being there for me. I have to thank my whole family, my sister and my brother-in-law, my niece. I have to thank my church family and friends, and again I have to reiterate what Maria said by thanking the faculty and staff at Butler. Miss Bradley, Mr. Thompson, Miss J.E., Miss Allen, Mr. Partlow, Miss Porter, all of you guys make Butler what it is. I have to thank Mr. Grubbs for always observing us, Dr. Ray for preparing us for college, even though she knocked our graduation rate down. Thank Mr. Body and Chanel Thomas for getting me through his class. I have to thank Mr. Orlett for being the best teacher. He makes the world a much better place. Ms. Alicia Rocker, thank you for loving us like we were your own and for everything you've done to prepare us for life. I wouldn't be giving this speech if you hadn't doubted that I would be the valedictorian at the beginning of the year. And finally, I have to thank Ms. Alex Thrash. Thank you for going above and beyond teaching for every student. Thank you for spending your weekends helping us write scholarship essays, writing us recommendations, touring colleges with us, and always buying us food. You are the picture of what every teacher should be. Though you have every reason to give up on us, you never did. I cannot say thank you enough to you and Ms. Rocker for taking time out of your life to show us the world beyond Butler. Words cannot express my gratitude, but I am so grateful that I have had you as an example of how I want to live my life. Thank you so much. At this time, I would like for you all to take out your cell phones and play Angry Birds or Candy Crushers for the next 7 minutes and 36 seconds, because this is the most dreaded part of graduation for everyone. It is for me. I've spent the last month watching graduation speeches on YouTube. The problem with trying to use someone else's speech was that none of them had had our experiences. They hadn't spent the last year in a class with Megan Anderson rubbing it in their face every time she finished her math first. They didn't spend every lunch period with Zakiya Muhammad, Shamika Gibbons, and Egypt Parker going to Ms. Rocker's office. They didn't have the joy of having 5 classes every day with Jasmine Ishman. And they didn't have Zadarian Thomas as their homecoming king, senior class president, Mr. Concert Choir, Mr. VHS, and as their major in ROTC. And I can almost bet you that they weren't their school's 50th graduating class. So I stared at a blank sheet of paper for hours, trying to write something appropriate, using large words and a metaphor for our time at Butler. But when I failed to do any of these things, I thought about my first day at Butler, the feeling I got when I walked through the doors for the first time, the fear I felt walking into a place with a bad reputation and many people much bigger than myself, the fear that I was all alone with no friends, the fear that I had to endure this place for 3 more years, fear because I had no clue who Lil Wayne was, and the fear that I would never make it. It was the same feeling I felt when I began writing this speech. The fear that after this speech is said, we're going to walk out of those doors, forget the friends we've made, all of the memories, and that this would be our last time together. Our years at Butler have been eventful, to say the least. And no matter how those outside of our school may view us, they cannot take away the pride we have in our personal achievement. Because we've learned more at Butler than we would have anywhere else. We learned that minds are things you step on, whereas mine is a personal pronoun. We learned that Mr. Grubbs isn't really a teacher, he's just merely a spectator. We learned that the easiest way to get Ms. Orlett off topic was to mention yearbook or football. We learned everything we will ever need to know about psychology from watching Cops. But we learned so much more than the equilibrium constant of chemicals or stoichiometry. We learned how to face sabotage and overcome it, rather than become its victims. We transformed ourselves into a diverse family, Together we forged bonds that I pray neither time nor distance will break. I hope you don't forget our first event as seniors on the one and done trip to Carowinds, or how Denisha Floyd would take her pants off every day in lit class, or how much fun our trip to Savannah State was. I know Megan Anderson won't. I know you will never forget how amazing Delacia Albert's red velvet cupcakes are. They're amazing. Or how Zakia Mohammed danced her hijab off at military ball. And no senior who had Dr. Ray will ever forget the capstone project. Shakira Henderson, I'll never forget how long it took you to do it. And again, I hope none of you forget today the feeling of walking across the stage to get your diploma, because it's much more than a piece of paper. It's a goal you had, and today you accomplished it. I hope you cherish the memories made at Butler, but that these are not the greatest days of your life, and that today is not your greatest accomplishment. I hope you leave this place today, take with you everything you've learned over the past 4 years, and make better memories than our senior field day when we nearly froze to death in May, or how Miss Bradley would sing Miley Cyrus to us every morning over the intercom, or how we would begin each school year in homeroom until our schedules were finished. And I hope you take your diploma and turn it into your dream job, because that's what life is supposed to be. Taking a dream, defeating every obstacle until you have exactly what you want out of life. The class of 2010 had a quote that I feel more appropriately fits us: "Only the strong survive." We are the 50th graduating class from George P. Butler, but also the smallest. Our test scores were not the best, and we didn't pass our graduation test the first time, but we persevered and made it to the day we've been looking forward to since our first day of 9th grade. In August of 2009, we all came to Butler with our expectations of how it would be. But now, here we are, this last speech away from walking across the stage, getting our diplomas, and leaving Butler behind. It may sound cliche, but we really left our mark on Butler. So much so that they'll be tearing it down this summer and rebuilding it, because a building couldn't hold a class as great as ours. I feared I would say the wrong thing in this speech, or that you would all be disappointed when I don't end it with "turn up." I knew it would end up sounding like every other graduation speech these members from the Richmond County Board of Education had heard today. And I cannot say this speech is true for everyone. Some of us are more prepared to leave Butler behind. But that doesn't matter. Our time at Butler is over, and now we become freshmen all over again. There are no safety nets or makeups for our mistakes now. We get to relive the fear of not knowing where the next steps in life will take us. I cannot tell you what will happen next. My freshman year, I would have never guessed that I would be standing before you all today giving this speech. I can only tell you my expectations. Tomorrow I'll go by McDonald's to get a nice coffee before work, and Shay Winfrey will hang out the window talking to me until the car behind me honks. I know this summer Cameron Brown will be going crazy at basic training being around such handsome military men, but that she will do our country proud. This fall, Brene Stewart, Brianna Blanks, and myself will be going to Armstrong Atlantic and the beach every chance we get. I expect to see my twin brother Isaiah Lambert playing at the Super Bowl, and seeing Glenn Bostic on the cover of Forbes for making millions as an entrepreneur. And I know for sure that one day I'm going to turn on my radio and Zadarian Thomas's beautiful voice is going to flood my car. And hopefully in 10 years from now we can all come and see how successful we have all become. But no matter where life takes you, I hope it brings us together again. I feel so lucky that I have something that makes saying goodbye so hard. Congratulations, class of 2013, we did it.
Good afternoon. I too would like to